we started 2025 and I was making those points on the floor, they were insulting me that we are jealous. We're telling them that in economics, when you overvalue your currency, your exports become more expensive. It will come back to hit you.
Honorable, let's talk about cocoa prices. And then yesterday, the agric minister was on radio, and then he says that the real value of money has increased, even though there has been a drastic decrease in the monies that has been given to cocoa farmers from about 3,600 to just 3,587. He says that now they have a lot of money to do a lot of purchasing because of the inflation rates, because the dollar is stable now and all of that. What is your personal view on this? What's your personal take on that?
My view doesn't matter. You can go out there and talk to the cocoa farmers for them to tell you whether this makes sense to them or not. And they'll tell you respectfully that it doesn't make sense to them in any way. Cocoa bags were being bought by Cocoa Board at 475 Cs. And the NPP administration that inherited that 475, despite inflation reducing in some of the years and all of the other things, we increased it all the way to 3,100. It was this party that told the cocoa farmers that we were robbing them. And the cocoa farmer is not impressed. I go to my cocoa villages, the cocoa farmer is not impressed.
And I was told on cocoa farmers, this representatives of this government have said that the erstwhile administration, your administration, of which you are an active member of cabinet, because of the way you handle the whole cocoa sector, that is what has brought us into this mess. Is it a situation whereby the political class in general are still Ghanaians?
First of all, that is not true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome once again, and the program has been The Constituency. Today, I'm seated with the Member of Parliament for the good people of the Fuansa IRB constituency, Honorable Kojo Ponkruma. How many of you knew Honorable's name as Vincent? Honorable, people don't know that name.
They don't know that name.
Yeah.
It's my hidden name. I use it on Sundays.
Oh, thank you very much for granting us this opportunity to engage you. It's been a long time coming, but finally you drew. Honorable, let's talk about cocoa prices. And then yesterday, the agric minister was on radio, and then he says that the real value of money has increased, even though there has been a drastic decrease in the monies that has been given to cocoa farmers from about 3,600 to just 3,587. He says that now they have a lot of money to do a lot of purchasing because of the inflation rates, because the dollar is stable now and all of that. What is your personal view on this? What's your personal take on that?
My view doesn't matter. You can go out there and talk to the cocoa farmers for them to tell you whether this makes sense to them or not. And they'll tell you respectfully that it doesn't make sense to them in any way. Cocoa bags were being bought by Cocoa Board at 475 Cs. And the NPP administration that inherited that 475, despite inflation reducing in some of the years and all of the other things, we increased it all the way to 3,100. It was this party that told the cocoa farmers that we were robbing them and that they actually deserved about 6,000. So the cocoa farmers voted for them with the belief that that's what they were going to get.
They have said that at the exchange rate at that time.
Only, please, that is grammar. Only for them to come and now say that, world market prices, FOB prices, 70%, 90%. The bottom line is 2,500. And the cocoa farmer is not impressed. I go to my cocoa villages, the cocoa farmer is not impressed. So no amount of attempt to rationalize it is going to change the reality on the ground. And this comes at a time when Cocoa Board is spending lots of money on many other things that are totally unnecessary. This is what has angered the cocoa farmer. The cocoa farmer is saying essentially that even if you can't pay them the 6.5 that you promised, pay him the 3.1 that Akufo-Addo left for him. If you can't add anything to it, because you came and you said we were moving to 3.2, then 3.6, and now before the cocoa years ended, you've taken it back to 2.5. And the cocoa farmer says that if you can't pay him what you promised, you just pay him what Akufo-Addo left him with. And that's where we are today. Today we are just going to get into the chamber, and we're hoping to take a statement on an urgent matter of public interest, which is this cocoa matter, and try to urge on the government to restore at least the 3,100 that we left them with.
Well, the senior staff of Cocoa Board have said that they've reduced, or there's been a 20% reduction in their salaries. Isn't that goodwill? Isn't that solidarizing with the cocoa farmers in this kind of situation? Is it the way to go?
How does that solve the problem you've put the cocoa farmer into? The cocoa farmer has borrowed money and has produced cocoa with the understanding that he's going to get 3,600. Then you reduce it to 2,500. and then you say that to compensate him, you have cut your salary by 20%. By the way, you've cut him by 28%, and then you say you've cut yours by 20%. It doesn't make sense to the cocoa farmer.
Well, still on cocoa farmers, this representatives of this government have said that the erstwhile administration, your administration, of which you are an active member of cabinet, because of the way you handle the whole cocoa sector, that is what has brought us into this mess. Is it a situation whereby the political class in general are still Ghanaians?
First of all, that is not true. The problem they are having now is because of two things. It's because of one, their own decision to change the trading model of Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board used to sell a lot of their cocoa through what you call forward sales. So you don't wait till the time is due. You start arranging with the buyers, arranging your price and quantities they'll lift with them ahead of time. They went into Cocoa Board, literally sacked some of the people who were good and skilled at this, and changed the model. And now they are doing a lot of purchases on spot pricing. And the pricing is coming out. That's why it's affecting them. The forward pricing is a way of hedging against price fluctuations. That's the first problem. The second problem is that they've artificially pumped up the CD by about 36 to 40%. You recall that when we started 2025 and I was making those points on the floor, they were insulting me that we are jealous. We were telling them that in economics, when you overvalue your currency, your exports become more expensive. It will come back to hit you, and you start subsidizing jobs abroad. You start subsidizing imports as against strengthening your external side or export side of your economy. At the time, they thought, we're just doing politics. Today, the reality is here. So these two things are squarely they are making. It has nothing to do with debt. If it's debts, we inherited more debts in dollar terms than they inherited from us. The debt we inherited from them in dollar terms, when the dollar was when the CD to the dollar was about 4.
14.
If you look at at 4.
Okay, that was
if you look at the debt they left us.
Okay.
And now, if you look at the debt that they inherited in dollar terms, we inherited more debt than them. Prices went down, I think, 2018, 2019. You never heard us cough or complain. We carried the bullet. We ensured that cocoa farmers got what was due them. They've come up to mess the sector up, and they're just telling stories. Those stories must be ignored. We remain resolute on the point that the government should pay at least the 3-1 that the cocoa farmers were enjoying before they came to power, not worsen their plight to 2,500.
So are you also of the view that projects or ongoing projects by this government must stop, and then proper prioritization must be given to cocoa farmers?
We were doing projects and still paying the cocoa farmer 3,100, and they said that we were robbing the farmer. So they have to continue with the project and still pay the 3-1 at least. If they can't pay what they had promised, they should pay the 3-1 at least, but that doesn't mean they should stop the projects. When we were paying the 3-1 and still doing projects, where were they? So that is an untenable argument.
Well, let's look at inflation. In January, the Ghana Statistical Service have said that inflation dropped to just about 3.8%. You were very first on the floor of Parliament and then on other platforms also. What is your take on that? Is it a situation whereby prices of goods and services have dropped, yet there is no money, the purchasing power to afford goods and services isn't with the Ghanaian right now?
So first of all, we have always argued that the methods in economic management that you use, they matter. The cost of those methods also matter. And then the sustainability of those methods matter. So what is the method they are using to control inflation? Essentially what they are doing is that they are sterilizing a lot of money from the system. We've said it, about 62 billion cedis last year. When they say it's not true, their own budget document, page 284, is there in black and white that they've sterilized. I'll give you a copy of it and you can maybe show it to your viewers. It's there in black and white that they've sterilized over 60 billion. What sterilization means, using what they call the open market operations, means that you offer a rate to the market and the market will bring all that money to you and you park the money at the Bank of Ghana. So people who want that money to execute transactions won't get it. So you hear people saying in town that Sika Nikrum, Sika Nikrum. Go and talk to the traders. They will tell you that imported items, because the dollar has come down, they've reduced the nominal price that's sitting there.
Yeah.
But people don't have money to buy. And it's because the government has sterilized it. I'll show you. This is it. This is page 284 of the 2026 budget.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have this on your screen right about
this
now.
This is it. 62 billion.
62 billion.
Sterilized. So, people can shout and claim it's not true, it's not true. It's there. And that is what you are seeing in the market, that money is not available for people's purchasing power. So the method they are using can even bring inflation down to 0. By the way, inflation in Ghana is supposed to be between 6 and 10. The target, the Bank of Ghana people, if they'll tell you the truth, the target is 8 plus or minus 2. That's between 6 and 10. Anytime you go below 6, you are going to cripple growth and jobs. So the method they are using is what has even brought it to, I think it's 3.8. Yeah. The way they are going, they can even get to 0.
There is a good news for Ghanaian law students.
Okay.
And your young lawyers, and the law lecturers, researchers, there is good news. If it is anything related to Ghana law, any legislation there is good news. You know Ghana for ya at the AI. I'm from GhanaLegalAI.com.
Wow.
A website from Mediaba. GhanaLegalAI.com. I'm from AI powered legal. A research for Ghana legal. One year man kwa. Kwa so website in this one. You were 21 plus AI legal tools. Tools, different tools on ma. But be a person with the there's opportunity to pass them. And on Kodano, every single thing. Every single reference you see there, every single citation you're looking for, any research material be a Ghana legislation case that there be a open reference 100% verified. Citations they verified. And now, Ebiana Ghana, and I say Ghana, anything related to Ghana long
Oh, that's nice.
Your friend, GhanaLegalAI.com. And to we go Bama. You know now law school. Who's a law? You never research them.
Yes.
And according to Mensa versus Mensa 2023, go there. All the citations are there.
Supremo versus Oboisiki.
Oboisiki. Oh, every citation be a mo person munya details. Any research material be a person. Simple references, research materials. You see, 21 plus AI legal tools. And your friend of GhanaLegalAI.com. Dear that's the AI powered legal. Jabuja, where the Okonoma, first 2 days in a free. Just go browse, get all your research materials, verify citations, or anything out Piano. It was built for Ghanaian lawyers. It was built for Ghanaian law students. It was built for Ghanaian law lecturers and researchers. Naturally, we're interested in the Mrano, so we are more abreast with the law. Mona AI legal to Yabama. It's called GhanaLegalAI.com. I was in one of
But go out there and you see the lived experience of the people. The people will tell you that there's no money because they've used sterilization to pull the money from the system. The real cost of production, they haven't done anything about it. So items produced in Ghana, the cost is going up. And items that are imported are becoming cheap. That's why the rice farmers are complaining. I went to my rice farming communities. Rice packed up in the warehouses. Again, I'll give you videos. Rice packed up in the warehouses. There are no buyers because now it's cheaper to buy imported rice. Why? Because one, they are sterilizing for inflation. And then on the currency side, they are just pumping the proceeds of the Gold for Reserves program. They are pumping it onto the market. So it's artificially brought the dollar to 10. And when you do that, what you are doing is that you are subsidizing importation. All that intervention is subsidizing those who want to import and those who want to externalize their money.
So they benefit.
They benefit. And at the end of the day, the local producer,
the average Ghanaian.
And that is what you are seeing, for example, in the area of rice. So the rice farmer is now having a problem. He's produced rice, but he now has a glut. It's there in the rice mills. Nobody can buy because you've subsidized the importation. And the rice farmer next year, I'm not sure he'll produce rice. So that affects your productivity. That affects your jobs. Those are the methods they are using. And I've told you that the methods matter. It comes at a cost. So sterilization, you see in the Bank of Ghana's 2025 books, when they publish their results, you see the cost of the open market operation that they've done. The pumping of the dollars, you will see the cost. Already, we've been told that it's cost us about $300 million on the buy side. On the valuation side, because they didn't want you to see the extra cost on the valuation side, they quickly rushed to sell a bit of the gold before the year was over. So the methods they are using, it has significant costs. And then you come to the question of sustainability. And so that's why we keep, in all humility, advising the government that we've been there before. We got some things right. We made some mistakes. Why do you want to stubbornly repeat some of those mistakes and cause Ghana all this wahala? When you can, in all good faith, we can put politics aside. You can listen to us, your brothers. When we tell you that this will be the consequence. And you listen and you move away from it, Ghana will be the better for it. When I was telling them about the pumping and they said, oh, it's not true, go away. My papa, we have lost. If they had listened, you think we would have lost $300 million? wouldn't. That is even apart from the cost you are seeing in Galamsey and all of those ones. And don't let anybody deceive you that they are not buying Galamsey gold. They are buying Galamsey gold as part of what they are doing. So there are real costs to the methods. And this Galamsey gold they are buying has health consequences for you. I just read a report that cassava is now beginning to experience levels of, I think, mercury and other things in it. So when you eat fufu, you should start thinking twice. Is that the cost? Is that the price you want to pay just for pegging currency at 10? So the methods they are using, they have costs and they are sustainability questions. And so we will continue in all humility to draw their attention. If they listen, Ghana will be the better for it. And if they don't, we'll make our case to the Ghanaian people to give us an opportunity to correct it at the next election.
Well, back to my previous question. Is there a situation where the political class has failed Ghanaians? Because people say that choosing between the NPP and the NDC is just choosing between the lesser of two evils. And opposition, the NDC campaigned vigorously. They spoke to cocoa farmers, appealed to the conscience of Ghanaians who felt that the NPP hadn't done much. Today, we are having all of this things with the NDC. And now the NPP says that, okay, the NDC is making so many mistakes. We are coming back to do better. How does the average Ghanaian trust the politician?
You see, the average Ghanaian has to look in between the lines. Go back to 2016. We told you that, listen, what was happening on the economic front was self-induced crisis. They were mismanaging the economy and we went into an energy crisis and it affected everything. Then we went for a bailout at the IMF. So Ghanaians should give us an opportunity. We'll bring one district, one factory. We'll bring a free SHS. We'll bring a number of programs aimed at improving the quality of life. And Ghanaians gave us an opportunity in 2016. In 2017, we lived true to our promise. Growth was up, inflation was down, currency was stabilized, free SHS was introduced, 1D, 1F was introduced. I have the National Development Planning Committee report here. Over 150 factories left at the time that we had finished. But in 2020, we were hit with a problem, global problem. And we told Ghanaians that we've been hit with a problem. This is not the pattern. We've been hit with a problem. Give us an opportunity to solve it. And we started solving it and turning it around. But the NDC capitalized on it and told everybody that it was our own making that we were having that problem. No matter how we explain, they will mock us, laugh at everybody. When you tell them that fuel prices have gone up because of a war in a particular place, they say, oh, laugh at them, beat them. What has Russia? The president himself used to say that the bombs are in Russia, Ukraine, how is it affecting us? This week, haven't fuel prices gone up? Yeah. Did he deliberately increase it? What happened? The global market price changed. Cocoa, why is he now telling them that it's global market price? They told so many untruths just because they wanted power. Now they have the power and their real character is beginning to show. It doesn't mean the two political groups are different. We will continue to remind Ghanaians of the truth, that you see where we picked this and where we brought it, and where the challenge caused us to fall down, and how we started correcting it. But it's because you believe these people and give them the opportunity. When the time is coming, give us an opportunity to correct this mess that they are creating and get back on that path that we were on before 2020. And we are hopeful that when that time comes, the people of Ghana will now compare the two and give us a good listening ear.
So you're saying that through comparison, the average Ghanaian can make an informed decision?
That time will come. For example, when they were talking about cocoa and we were saying what they are saying is not true, their story sounded sweet. So nobody was listening to us. You can do all the press conference, you can explain town hall meetings. No, they had told the people that they will pay them 6,000. So the people were just listening to that one. That's fine. It's part of democracy. The time is coming when now the people will compare a 3,100 to the 2,500. And they will realize that Medofo Adaadaa.
Well, this week in Parliament, what are we to expect from the minority? Because definitely government is going to lay a number of those in Parliament. What are we to expect from your side?
We, first of all, today are actually supposed to take the motion on the investigation into the gold sales. Well, not the gold sales, into the gold purchase program. We're supposed to take it today. They are now in the business committee meeting. I do understand they'll come out shortly and we'll see whether Mr. Speaker has given us a green light to take it today or not. We've also served notice that we want to do a statement on an urgent matter of public interest on the cocoa matters, because you know Parliament has not been briefed yet.
Yeah.
The minister held a press conference, we held a press conference, but Parliament has to be briefed. Cocoa is one of the most important sectors in this country. 800,000 people to 1 million people work directly in cocoa. If you add on to that, they are dependents. If everybody has 2 dependents, and that alone is about, my God, about 2-point-something million people.
Almost 3 million.
Yes. That is just those who work in it. And the people who've been affected. Such a major matter. For the first time in our history reducing cocoa prices, Parliament should be briefed. The Minister for Finance, Minister for Agri, Cocoa Board CEO, and the Board of Cocoa Board, they have to be brought to Parliament to come and answer questions on behalf of the people to come and explain what is going on. Because the feedback we are getting is that they have to restore the 3-1 minimum, but they have to come for that conversation. So we are hoping that this week Parliament will at least admit that one, so that we can do the people's business. Quite recently, I wrote an article, I'm sure you'll find it, that Parliament should do more of the people's business, not some of the theatrics that don't matter. This is the matter that is serious to everybody at this point in time. No matter any kind of thing. Today I saw that they said they've opened a new embassy in Addis Ababa. By the way, that embassy was commissioned by Akufo-Addo for work to start on.
But they said Mama started it.
But it's not true. The data is there. But my point is that in the minds of the Ghanaian people, that is not even what they want to discuss.
Yeah.
They say some Russian guy, that's not what people are. What is of interest to people is what you are doing to the 1 million cocoa farmers. And this is the people's business that Parliament should be focusing on.
Some of your colleagues have said that this government is good at diverting attention. Do you think it's a tactic that they are good at?
It's a tactic. Once they get under pressure, before you realize, then they will come and announce that they have arrested somebody and they are coming to prosecute somebody. It's part of all their settings. They do very well at settings. You know, when the finance minister was about to read the first budget, he went to town with cameras following him to talk to the market. We used to go to town every time. But we don't do all that kind of settings. But they like all their things. So initially they were getting away with it, but I'm sure now the Ghanaian public are beginning to see that they just like to divert attention and do a lot of PR settings, but the real substantive issues they are not resolving. Again, you recall our debate on the floor that if you spend all your time dancing in the chamber, you don't focus on the real issues, time will catch up with you. It pains my heart that such a glorious opportunity to build on what we had started is being squandered. And it's because they are just doing a lot of settings and PR.
Honorable, your party has elected a flag bearer going to the 2020 elections. You have about 2 years to strategize and then going to. What are some of the things you are going to tell the Ghanaian people? And then what does this mean for the NPP?
It's not even about what we're going to tell the Ghanaian people. We are going through a process of reform. Our flag bearer, I think, on Sunday mentioned that we are, for example, going to start our policy unit very soon. We are going through our reform process. Today, National Council, I'm just coming from a council meeting. Council has announced a roadmap for the internal elections so that we can finish our reforms and build a strong machinery. When we're done with all of that, by that time, we believe that the full story of the performance of this government will now be showing and you can compare. Then we'll come to the Ghanaian people and show them what we had done, how low this government has brought it, and what our alternative propositions are. And we are hopeful that the Ghanaian people would listen and compare and make a decision.
Have you seen anything good the government has done so far on a rate of 1 to 10? How do you rate the government?
I have said, for example, that the government started well in continuing how every new administration starts. And I give several examples, whether it was inflation or currency. It's not new. From Yaosafo Mafu to Kwabena Dufour to Kenoforiata to Atufos. And it's the same template that when you go to finance ministry, they start off with. The problem is that when the rubber meets the road, when the demands start coming, what is your level of ingenuity to try and fix it? It's when you are not able to do that you get into some of these problems. I've also commended the finance minister for the commitment controls that he introduced. I think it's a brilliant thing that he introduced. It will help to limit our deficit on a commitment basis. I think that those are positive things. In my area that I left, housing, I've seen the government continuing with the public-private partnership approach to resolve Saglemi.
Yeah.
You know, I started it. We went heavily on it. We signed the agreement with the private developer. I've just heard the minister announce that they are continuing with it. So I see areas in which I think as a republic, there's progress.
Kwasi app be Abama Ghana for especially you know more Ghana. Be breta friend na me padwuma o na we unti say adwuma bi o ba bi. We dey na padwuma bi o ha na me padwuma unti say adwuma o ba bi. Obi wo so awase me wa adwuma na me pe nkrofo mma be me pe nkrofo mma be. Enunti na kwasi AI ade aba. O dey na so be free. Eye +1201 9790148. O friend number na and one say and now AI on be communicating nicely. You can call, you can WhatsApp. And one is so be simple. Say, Ebia me pay juma. Your friend me say, me qualifications. Say ni say. Ajuma be say na me pay. Cause here I best store data no. It is say ajuma be say be PM o quickly no test o. Na wa mo ya we say ajuma na wo pay no. Matching your qualification ebia ba. The same way and I we ajuma e for na so ye penny pa no. We call. Ya wadwuma bi say me wadwuma bi say me offices bi say me wo this adwuma bi say me penipa bi o mo ti say nipa bi saa so be apply so padwuma bi say na kwesi quickly we inform us say chance aba oso bra na oso nipa na me wadwuma eti abama basically abama ye school padwuma ye titi fie ye su adwuma ye padwuma ye plumbers electricians ye padwuma ye eni ye wo adwuma ye pe nkrofo no ye de ne kwesi and one say numbers no be contacting numbers either WhatsApp or you call any of them, you'll be received, your data will be saved, and then we will contact you as soon as there is a job opportunity for you. Your email is info@kwesi.org. Contacting anyone.
But I think that there's a lot more that can be done if they will listen and avoid some of the mistakes that we made and rather build on the strength instead of squandering everything. Look at the 24-hour economy. We had a brilliant program for industrialization and jobs. 1D1F. 150 factories were functioning by the time we left. Not my words, NDPC report. Forget all the politicians. The Tenka report says 150 were there. You come in and now you cancel the program. And then you say you've brought 24-hour economy. Have you seen the 24-hour economy bill that they have enacted? There's nothing in it.
That's empty?
There's nothing in it. I read it on the floor to them. The 24-hour work cycle is not in it. The 133 is not in it. Not a single agency. And when we listed the agencies that were putting it in the bill, they say no, they don't want it. It's only when they go out there that they will do their propaganda and settings to their people. But right here in the chamber, we read the bill to them. So you've dismantled the 1D1F. You've replaced it with the 24-hour economy. Where's the 24-hour economy?
They say it's going to take some time.
When? 2 years are coming. And the opportunity cost of the dismantling of the 1D1F, like by now the 1D1F was still functioning, 2025, you would have had some factories and people would have had jobs. Because you cancelled it, it didn't happen. 2026, the clock is counting. And you are now waiting to start a 24-hour economy. Which country set up a 24-hour economy authority before they could start a 24-hour economy? 24-hour economy is driven by demand. And now you are taking money out of the system. So how are people even going to get money to demand? You are even undermining your own policy. So we are of the view that in due course, people will have an opportunity of settings and PR. The amount of dollars they've pumped into the economy to achieve 10 cedis to $1.
Stabilize the city.
If that money was still sitting in our gross international reserves, ask yourself what uses that money could have been used to. And now what they have done, ask yourself what you can point to and show that this was the result of it. So there's a lot that as time goes on, we'll have an opportunity to speak about. It's just painful that Ghana has to go through this, but we're hopeful that the people of Ghana will have an opportunity to compare and make a choice at the end of the day.
Now, wrapping up, some Ghanaians have lost their lives in Burkina Faso. Tragic. Do you think that it's about time the president appoints a substantive minister for defense?
That in itself will not solve this matter. This matter, in my view, respectfully, is a result of intelligence failure. You see, there used to be an intelligence collaboration framework called the Accra Initiative between Ghana and Burkina and other countries. So that where you have intel, you can share and the necessary preventive measures can be taken. We also had a program for anti and counter-terrorism. When this government came in, what has happened is that the Accra Initiative is no longer functioning. So that intelligence sharing is no longer existent. If it was working, the Burkinabe will let you know that in these places, there are challenges. And if you have to arrange safe passage even for your traders, you work with them to do that. That's why you find that Dr. Bawumia, for example, in his statement says that we need to pay attention and strengthen the systems of collaboration to protect Ghanaians everywhere. The National Intelligence Bureau, which is supposed to work on domestic intelligence, now they've stopped intelligence gathering. Now they've gone back to BNI of old and just arrest former appointees and put them in BNI. Even when police arrest, then they go and give to BNI. So how are you going to be getting the intelligence if you've now reduced your intelligence agency to
an arresting
agency? So a lot of missteps are being occasioned. I think it's important that intelligence gathering and collaboration is strengthened so that as insecurity is rife in the West African sub-region, we can still share intelligence and better protect our people.
Well, finally, your words to Ghanaians and the people of Ofansi, they are watching you.
For the people of Ofansi, every time, Madam was say, Mama, me opportunity say, Minsomo, Ewofia say, send ya Musumuni, and me, Mamma, sense from that. I bring you a office of Ofansi. we na me ba mo na mo kire me dia enye ofiase ya me ba parliamentary said bia maso eguso mo ni eguso me ba ebeka ho asem ase nti me koso asom djuma so ayeso mo nye se na me wo opposition ti no akwan ne nke ka ne ade ni schools ICC ne ya da bi eguso aye se ne moni tu abibia nti me srem mo mpa man na ye ntumi koso ensom yakopon shamo.
Well, thank you very much for opening your doors to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been seated and having a conversation with the Member of Parliament for the good people of Ofuansi.
For the righteous people of Ofuansi.
Righteous, we shall live to see. So don't go rampant. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtains. I've been your host, and then thank you for watching another episode. Who are you expecting next on the constituency? I'm out.
Adaadaa. So pe company na obet me ede ho ato omo so eba no adansi ene ho dwumedie bia dia eno ene Zion View Construction and Services eba no general building construction say yensi dan fit scratch enko na wieye na enye de wakoma pedie eno ene Zion View Construction and Services eba no dampness treatment say walls ho ena cracking enso elikifa walls ho tino ama apotobibre age wo dan no aboso dia Zion View men can show say obe apply waterproof coating e de ama external and internal walls no sene be ya wonso no obetimi afa wodan no ho afa na apotobibre nyina nso aclear e de amount ebiemu no se ba no Italian graffiato se wo si abefo de ya baby a wo ho access scratch lines ne nam ho fefefe en nso no omudi sa dwumade no kama stamped concrete for compound se wo pe concrete papa e de aya o compound a e be che na be san so aya fe e de amount dia fashion Zion View Construction and Services omo ensa ebano epoxy floor me pacha so ope epoxy floor papa ope de beche e de amount ope de hoho etunan e de sofia obeka se emom o floor si eyefe so ope e de amount garage floors basement countertops and na simple no ope ne so commercial dwumede bia udi se bank bi na wusi restaurant bi na wusi hotel bi na wusi eno ene Zion View Construction and Services so what Ghana anase amano no dia na ope company a ombe sofie no SSC the amount there. Me patch out for numbers we say 0543 123829 0543 123829 and I say 0249 711659 0249 711659. So we share Zion View Construction and Services BMUSUA. Obetimi akọ omo website so www.zionviewconstruction.com.